Right. Hi, and good evening, and welcome to the Kearns News Network. My name is Alex Collins.
And I'm Maggie Danaher.
Tonight we'll be covering the recent revolts in the Danubian principalities.
That's right, Alex. Things are getting pretty heated down there.
Yes, that's right. The two main principalities in this region, Moldavia and Wallachia, have turned to violence against the administration imposed by the Imperial Russian authorities.
Before we get to the violence, let us give you an idea where these principalities are located. Wallachia and Moldavia are located along the Danube River and are surrounded by the Austrian, Russian, and Ottoman empires.
For quite some time now, the Russians have been exerting power over the people in this region.
And they are clearly fed up.
Let's start with what happened in Moldavia.
Sounds good, Alex.
To add some context to the Wallachian Revolution, first we need to address the failed revolution of Moldavia that happened around the same time and served as much of the inspiration for the revolution that followed.
That's a great point. Many people in Wallachia supported the Moldavian Revolution and participated heavily.
Okay, so in Moldavia, the boyars.
Remind me again, what are the boyars?
Excellent question. The boyars are members of the upper class in this region.
Oh, right, continue.
Well, these boyars had come into sharp conflict with Prince Michal Sturza, objecting to his authoritarianism and failure to consult them with some desiring the thrones themselves.
They were forming plots in the General Assembly, but still, Prince Sturza remained quite unconcerned.
Right, because they were still quite divided and lacked popular support.
In addition, the peasantry was also unhappy, and between 1846 and 1848, opposition to Sturza intensified. There was a lot of objection and protesting to the prince's taxes in both the capital, Iazi, and in the rural areas.
In the summer of 1847, there was increased competition between liberal boyars for seats in the General Assembly.
Peasants in Moldavia and Wallachia refused to perform labor services, with violence and flight abroad increasing in the summer of 1847 and into the next spring.
The big push for change came when intellectuals were inspired by the February Revolution in Paris, where a number of them were studying.
On April 8, 1848, a few great boyars opposed to Sturza, younger liberal boyars, and representatives of the middle class and other urban classes, perhaps 1,000 in all, met in the Hotel Petersburg to decide on a course of action.
A committee chaired by the poet Vasil Alessandri drew up the petition proclamation addressed to the general population and to the prince.
Their overall objective was to install a moderate liberal political regime and to stimulate economic development.
Fortunately, this revolution didn't last very long.
That's right, Alex. On July 7th, Russian troops entered Moldavia in order to prevent the establishment of a revolutionary government similar to that in Wallachia, but they did not cross into Wallachia until September. Military administration lasted until May 1st, when the Convention of Balta Liman was signed with the Ottoman government and restored joint Russo and Turkish control over the Wallachian and Moldavian principalities.
Although the Moldavian revolutionaries were more moderate and willing to compromise in their demands for reforms than their Wallachian counterparts, as Moldavian political and social life continued to be dominated by a landed conservative aristocracy.
Now let's talk about Wallachia.
Yes. After the revolution failed, many of those participants from the failed revolution created secret revolutionaries societies in Wallachia.
Many of these revolutionaries from Moldavia shared the same viewpoint on Russian policies as the Wallachians.
And what was this viewpoint, Maggie?
The imperial Russian policies were much too harsh on the people and needed to be abolished.
Now, how did this contribute to the formation of the secret revolutionary societies?
These views are ultimately what led to the creation of the secret revolutionary societies. The biggest and most important society formed was the Fratia.
It was members of the Fratia that kicked off the revolution by drafting a document that called for new reforms and a government structure similar to that of a democracy.
A group of young educated men and officers in the Wallachian militia led the movement that succeeded in toppling the ruling prince, George Bebescu, whom it replaced with a provisional government and a regency. They also passed a series of very important progressive reforms, and they announced the Proclamation of Islas.
The Proclamation of Islam, freedom, right to build a national guard, equal rights for the people, and emancipation of Jews and the Gypsies.
The proclamation also stipulated that there must be separation of power, fair elections, and the creation of a prison system.
This document has taken Wallachia in the right direction towards a democracy.
This is very true, except the Ottoman-Russian occupation really lasted until 1851.
The common actions of Moldavians and Wallachians, plus the presence of Wallachian activists in Transylvania, helped circulate the ideal of national unity, with the ultimate goal of uniting as one state.
Wow, I wonder what this new state would be called.
I think Romania would be a cool name.
I agree for sure.
That's all for now.
Thanks for watching the Kearns News Network.
Make sure to tune in next time for KNN.